Despite Bach's dissatisfaction with the quality of available musicians, his creative ambition remained. In 1727, he gathered together the choirs of the churches and musicians from all over Leipzig to perform his extraordinary masterpiece, The Passion According to St. Matthew, a narrated drama involving recitative, dialogue, meditation, dramatic incident, arias, and chorales unprecedented in Western religious music.
What sets Bach off from all his contemporaries and makes him, in fact, almost unique in the history of music was his ability to integrate the most dissonant, expressive harmonies into a very basic consonant background, so that we have this combination of stability and very extraordinary expressivity in Bach. And I can give an example from of two pieces, one by Handel and one by Bach, both of them the final pieces of a very great liturgical work, the end of the Matthew Passion and the end of Handel's Theodora. Both of them are sarabands, stately dances in 3/4 time, and they're very similar in mood and entirely different in technique. The Handel is very extraordinarily simple and very, at the same time, very dramatic. Sudden movement at the end, out of the range of everything we've heard before. The Bach is very similar in rhythm, but the richness of sound is much greater. The Bach has this extraordinarily expressive sound when we get to harmony. These very dissonant harmonies, whereas Handel's harmonies are much simpler. It's this enormous richness, and above all, it's the richness of the inner part writing in Bach. It's not the soprano or the bass part, it's the other voices, the alto and the tenor and so on, which are so extraordinary in Bach. There's sort of no parallel to it in the history of music, but it was an enormous model. The composers who tried to follow him like that, Mozart and of course Chopin and others, there was an enormous influence from the rest of the history of Western music up until the 20th century.
Bach has become a sort of tutelary presence for many people. He exists in their consciousness because his melodies, perhaps especially some of the great famous melodies, have been inscribed in our being. We've heard them at solemn occasions. They've made an impression upon us, and they're therefore codified. It's somehow it's stamped or programmed into us and triggers a certain response. I think but he does that because he is so good. He does that because he is able to articulate these feelings, these yearnings, this huge moments of pathos that enable us to relate to something greater than ourselves.
There are many bits in it which surprise and startle me, and I can never quite know which bits are really going to get me, except one thing which always gets me, and I always prepare myself for it, try to resist it, or at least hide myself so that I'm not too shamingly sobbing. And that's the Erbarme dich. I don't know why it gets me, even to think about it. Actually, I can feel the tears starting in my eyes now, and I don't know what it is about it. It's something about what it expresses, that moment of knowing that you have forgotten that someone has said something about what you're going to do, that you will betray me. And you've gone through the whole of this ghastly, disheveled night, and just as was predicted, you've gone and done it. You have done it. And you just beg for some sort of forgiveness. But it's the music in which it's expressed, which, that violin. It doesn't matter whether you're an atheist or a Jew. By being an educated member of Western European civilization, it is the most famous story there is. It's in your bloodstream, well, in the way that no other story is. And it happens to be the most intensely dramatic story. You can read it again and again and again, and it never fails as a piece of drama. Now, you see, the Crouching Clergyman would say, well, the reason why it never fails is because it has an eternal truth. And that truth is religious, and you are yielding to it because you're resisting the religion, the religious belief which is in you. It's not the case at all. It's something that is permanently there, whether you believe it or not, which is the fact that we're here to suffer, and that our profession in this world is to die.
Towards the end of his life, Bach began to draw the strands of his musical output together. His Mass in B minor is made up of music composed between 1714 and 1749, the bulk of his musical career. Unperformed in his lifetime, it is both an anthology and a summation of Bach's choral music, spanning a vast range of available styles, from Gregorian and early Renaissance to the operatic and modern.